Hey there, home church. Welcome in to the first Sunday of the year. Do not adjust your screens. It is the first Sunday of the year, which means that Pastor Kevin has retired and that I have stepped in as our new senior pastor. I'm honored to take that role and to just carry on what Pastor Kevin and Sally have done here at home church, and just looking forward to the future. And we fully believe that the best is yet to come. So to start this year, I wanted to look at a series titled The One Another's, and everything that the New Testament has that includes the words one another. There's over 100 scriptures in the New Testament that include these two words. And so I broke them down and kind of categorized them, and so I wanted to take a look at these each week this month. And the first thing that we're going to jump into is the fact that we should serve one another. Now, Mark 10:45 says, "For even the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve, and to give his life as a ransom for many." So right off the bat, we start out just by stating the obvious. As he always does, Jesus sets the example for us to serve one another, for us to be a servant to each other. And I said in our series, in our sermon this morning, that you can't call yourself Christ-like, or a Christian is what that means, and not follow his example. Now, this must have been a problem or an issue that Jesus encountered, because he flat out asked people that very question. In Luke 6:46, he says, "Why do you call me Lord, Lord, and do not do what I say?" And then he goes on to give us the parable about the rock and the sand, and the man who hears the words that Jesus said and builds his house, and his foundation is on the rock. And when the waves and the wind and the storms come, the house stands firm because the foundation is on the rock. But the other guy, the guy who hears the words of Jesus but does not listen to them, is like a man who builds his house and the foundation is on the sand. So when the wind and the waves come and the storms come, the house collapses because it has no foundation. And that's what it's like if we call Jesus Lord but do not do what he says. We're like that man who built his house with the foundation on the sand. The first point that we looked at this morning, in the day and time that we live in, your service, you being a service to other people, may make some people uncomfortable, but we said, do it anyways. If you were with us this morning in service, you would have seen something that we did. I asked Pastor Kevin to come on stage, and I brought out a basin of water and a towel, and I asked him if I could wash his feet. And he said, absolutely. And we took a few minutes there, and I washed my pastor's feet. And we stood up, and I told him that I loved him, and I appreciated everything that he had done for me and my ministry. And this was something that Jesus did too, and it made his disciples very uncomfortable. Now, my wife asked me before I did this, she said, "Are you going to tell Kevin what you're doing?" And I said, "No, I'm not." And she said, "Well, that might make him uncomfortable." And I sat there for a second, and I said, well, good. That proves my point. Because in a day where our service can make people uncomfortable, we should do it anyways. In John 13:3-4, Jesus knew that the Father had put all things under his power, and that he had come from God and was returning to God. So he got up from the meal, took off his outer clothing, and wrapped a towel around his waist. Verse 5 says, after that, he poured water into a basin and began to wash his disciples' feet, drying them with the towel that was wrapped around him. 6-8 says, he came to Simon Peter. Now we know Peter has to say something. And Simon Peter said to him, "Lord, are you going to wash my feet?" And Jesus replied, "You don't realize now what I'm doing, but later you will understand." "No," said Peter, "you shall never wash my feet." And Jesus said, "Unless I wash you, you have no part with me." This was a job that was reserved for the lowest servant in the house. And here we see Jesus taking that position and being a servant to his disciples. Just hours before the crucifixion, he was still serving his disciples. After washing every disciple's feet in John 13 and 14, he said, "Now that I, your Lord and teacher, have washed your feet, you also should wash one another's feet." There we see that phrase, one another. And Jesus is telling them, like, guys, listen, it's important that you serve one another. This is going to help keep you connected. This is going to help keep you together, that you will serve one another. And that's exactly what Jesus wanted them to do. Now, why do we serve people? Well, we should serve people because we love people. Jesus even said that this is how people will know that we are his. He gave this in John 13:35. He said, "If you love one another, everyone will know that you are my disciples." So the easiest way to show people that you love them is to serve them. In a day and time where people are so worried about themselves, people are so caught up about themselves, for you to go out of your way to do something for somebody else is the best way to show somebody that you love them. Just serve them. The second point that we talked about this morning is that we should let our service be in secret. Your service is between you and God, not between you and your Instagram followers. It drives me nuts to see these videos on Facebook or Instagram where somebody pulls out their wallet and they pull out $100 bill and they look like they're so charitable because they're giving this $100 bill away to somebody, and they have their phone and they're taking a selfie and they're doing a video, a stream. They're like, "Oh, down here helping the homeless today. Make sure to like and follow." That's not what Jesus was looking for. Jesus didn't want us to make a big ordeal out of it. In fact, in Matthew 6, Jesus tells us to be careful not to practice our righteousness in front of others to be seen by them. He even tells us there's no reward in heaven for that behavior. Don't practice your righteousness in front of others. Then he goes on and he says, when you pray, go into your room and close the door and talk to God. Go into your room and close the door. When you fast, don't try to look pitiful. He says, you know what, get up and wash your face and put some oil in your hair and dress up and get ready for the day and go out and don't look pitiful. He says, when you give in secret and don't let your left hand know what your right hand is doing. And notice all of these things, he says, when you pray, when you fast, when you give, not if you pray or if you fast or if you give. These are all things that Jesus expected us to do. And he still expects us to do them today. The bottom line of it is we should serve because it is vital, not to go viral. That's what the world is looking for today. They're looking for followers and they're looking for people to follow them. Well, God's looking for followers, for people to follow him. And everything we do, whether it's our service to others, our service to the church, we should always be pointing people back to Jesus. This morning at church, I asked for anybody who volunteers and serves in our church to stand up and be recognized. Now, I told my wife what I wanted to do is I want them to have them stand and then everybody else give them a round of applause. And she told me I shouldn't do that. But luckily, Dave was here this morning and Dave started clapping for him and then everybody else did. So I didn't even have to ask people to do it. But we're so blessed here at Home Church to have people that serve and people that come and worship together and they work together. And a lot of times we don't even see them do it. And they do it in secret and they do it with the right spirit and the right heart. And I'm so thankful for all the people that we have here at Home Church that work to try to bring people closer to God. We hope that you'll make it back on campus with us soon, or that you'll come see us one day here on campus, and you'll see the difference that it makes when people serve the Lord just to serve the Lord. We love you. Have a great week.